charges the atmosphere with electricity, bound to have an unwholesome effect on a man of my temperament. Elf did not appear completely satisfied with that explanation, but he nevertheless lowered his head back down onto his huge paws. The metal studs in the broad leather collar around his thick neck glinted dully in the flickering firelight. Leo studied the flecks of silver in the hair around Elf's muzzle. Recently he'd noticed similar shards of ice in his own dark hair when he faced himself in his shaving mirror. "Do you think it's possible that we're getting old, Elf?" Elf huffed with soft disgust. He did not bother to open his eyes. "Thank God for that. You relieve my mind." Leo picked up the nearly finished glass of brandy on the nearby table and took a swallow. For a moment there, I was a trifle concerned. Outside, the wind howled. For the past hour, a storm had unleashed its ill temper on the walls of the ancient stone abbey that had housed the Mad Monks for generations. Lightning still snapped occasionally in the distance, illuminating the library with an unholy glare, but the worst was over. The fury of the elements was fading. Leo contemplated the fact that increasingly of late his researches into the arcane lore of ancient civilizations were no longer enough to divert his attention from the bleak waters of the well. "The problem may be too much study rather than too little, Elf. Mayhap it is time we hunted again." Elf's tail thumped once in complete accord with that suggestion. "Unfortunately, we've not had any interesting prey in the district for months." Leo downed more brandy. "Nevertheless, I must find something to amuse myself, or I shall likely end up like a character in one of those blood-curdling novels that are so popular in the circulating libraries." Elf twitched one ear. Leo suspected that his hound had even less interest in the tales of romance, horror, and dark mysteries known as horrid novels than he did himself. "I can see myself now, passing the nights stalking from one empty, decayed, cobweb-filled chamber to the next, searching for spectres and strange apparitions in the shadows, and all the while waiting for the beautiful, helpless heroine to fall into my clutches." The notion of a beautiful, helpless heroine in his clutches did nothing to improve his mood. The truth was, he hadn't had any sort of female, helpless or otherwise, in his clutches in a very long while. Perhaps that unfortunate circumstance was the cause of his restlessness tonight. He glanced at his heavily laden bookshelves. Nothing there appealed to him. The ennui seemed to have settled into his very bones. He thought about refilling his brandy glass. Elf stirred and raised his head. He did not look at Leo this time. His attention was focused on the library window. "Does the storm make you anxious? You've seen worse." Elf ignored him. The hound got to his feet with leisurely effort and stood unmoving for a few seconds. Then he padded to the window. His great paws made no sound on the oriental carpet. Leo frowned at the hound's alert air. Someone was approaching Monkcrest Abbey, in the middle of the night, at the height of the worst of the spring storms. "Impossible," Leo said. "No one would dare to come here without an invitation from me, and I have not issued any since I made the mistake of agreeing to see that idiot Gilmartin last month." He grimaced at the recollection of the brief visit. Charles Gilmartin had claimed to be a scholar, but he'd proved to be both a charlatan and a fool. Leo did not tolerate either sort well. It occurred to him that he must have been truly desperate for intelligent company to have wasted any time at all with the man. Another, more distant flash of lightning lit up the night sky. It was accompanied not by thunder, but by the muffled clatter of carriage wheels on the paving stones of the forecourt. Someone had indeed had the unmitigated gall to arrive unannounced at the Abbey. Bloody hell. Leo wrapped his hand around the fragile neck of the